Hello, my aspiring developer friend. So, just a reminder, there are three ways to sell your dream software. Whatever your dream is, there are three ways to sell it. You can sell it as a software as a service. You can use it to land yourself a job or a freelance gig, or you can use it to get yourself a raise. I've done all three of these. The first game that I built and published on the Apple App Store got me a job, completely on accident. I've used different applications that I built to get myself freelance work. I have built applications that have gotten me a raise when I was working for my professor. It was freaking awesome. And with my brother, we have actually sold software as a service. We've built multiple SaaS applications. The main, the one I think we've built the most recently is RoastMe, a token-based system that lets you generate roasts of yourself or of others, which is just a lot of fun. So I wanted to dive into specifically the job or the freelance. How do you use the software you've built to land a job or a freelance gig? And specifically, I'm going to dive into freelance. Now, this will be applicable to the job side of things as well, but it's the freelance side of things that I want to dive into specifically because that's where I'm at right now. I feel like I just have the most amount of experience with this, and I'll be able to help you the most with it. I also think it's an incredibly lucrative place to be, and it's something that any developer right now, any aspiring developer, can do right now in their free time. Right? And so I wanted to start this off by tackling this 3 ways to charge. Because I see this as an important place to start because we talked a lot about the value equation, and I see a lot, so many people, and I myself was this way, but we all charged an hourly rate. We all charge by time. And I really, really hate this. It is such a hamster wheel, and it really sucks. It sucks in so many ways, but the core way that it sucks is because you are punished for moving quickly. Right? That really sucks. You are punished for moving quickly. So if you deliver faster, you're punished. You don't get paid as much, which means you are incentivized as the developer to move more slowly. And that's a good thing for who? Right? That's not a good thing for anybody. And so there are lots of ways to get around this, but the first way is to move away from an hourly rate. And you can move away from an hourly rate by going to project-based. Now, I should probably include project-based or like retainer or something like this, right? You can do freelance work as retainer, and they'll have like maybe a set number of expected hours from you or something like that, but this is still generally time to time. It's closer. It's further away from being time to time, which is phenomenal. And it basically means like there are ways to dissociate it from time, which is ultimately what we want to do, right? We want our value to not be associated with time, because if we go back to this value equation, we just take a look at this. If we can decrease the amount of time it takes to deliver, then we increase the value. Which means if we're going for project-based / retainer approach, then if we deliver our good, the dream, in less time, that increases its value, which is fetching awesome. This is a great place to be. I will say that it still is not without its drawbacks, but it's definitely better than saying, hey, I charge $100 an hour, or I charge $150 an hour. I charge $250 an hour. I feel like when I tell people that I charge $250, they immediately just say, nope, sorry, can't do it. And I mean, it's probably true. They probably don't want to pay you $250 an hour. But what's interesting is that if we get to this project-based / retainer, it's like, yeah, I'll pay you $5,000 an hour to have you on hand and on call to solve these problems whenever I want to, right? As long as that's part of the dream. As long as it's part of the dream, and as long as you eliminate time and the effort and sacrifice required by them and serve them like create this dream outcome for them on a consistent basis, of course they're willing to pay that. Of course. If they aren't, then you need to shift the kind of people that you work with. Quick story on this. I was actually in a conversation with a guy in the crypto space, and he just kept hounding me. He's like, what's your hourly rate? And I was like, I don't charge an hourly rate because you can't pay it. Just being completely honest. You can't pay my hourly rate. You can't pay me money. You can't pay me enough money to get me off the couch. That's a poor way to say it. I was going to say, to separate me from my daughter. I was going to say, like, to get me out, like, off the couch if my daughter's sleeping on me, for example. It's like, you wouldn't be able to pay that money because my time with her is more valuable than my time with you. But you can pay me to deliver the dream for you, and I'm more than willing to do that. And so he kept hounding me, and I finally says, like, all right, dude, I actually led with $2,500 an hour. He's like, give me the real. I don't believe you. Give me the real one. I was like, fine, okay, $250 an hour. And he's like, that's still too much. I'm like, well, I don't. This is why I don't do hourly rates because it's not good. It punishes me for moving quickly, for delivering the dream that you're describing to me that you want. It's like, I'm not looking for an hourly rate thing. I'm looking for a better relationship than that. And that's not based on hours spent for me to help you achieve this dream that you want. So going back to this project/retainer, depending on the dream, depending what they're looking for, right, you can charge $5,000-$10,000 a month to achieve this for them. Now, that's totally reasonable, as long as the terms are set and you don't burn the bridge, which I've done more times than I care to count over the past 2 years. You just need to make sure they know what you're delivering. You need to ensure that there are clear lines of communication. You need to ensure that they know what the value is, what the dream outcome is. You need to both be clear on what that is if this is the path that you're going to take. Then the third way that you can charge is just based entirely, wholly, completely on value. This is my favorite place to be. And the reason it is my favorite place to be is because to get here, to do everything based wholly and completely on value, you must be incredibly clear on precisely the dream that the person wants. You need to know exactly what that is. You need to know exactly how you're going to get them there, right? If we just go through this, if we're charging based on value, then all four of these things are in line and in sync. You know exactly what the dream outcome is. They know exactly how long it's going to take. They know the amount of effort and sacrifice they will need to put in to achieve that. And they trust you to do it. They trust you to do it. So charging based on value, all four of these things are in sync. And the amazing part about this is that you can be incredibly honest with people and just say, hey, as you're going through this, if the value of the project is not enough, then you can simply say, I don't think this is a big enough problem for us to solve. Or, I don't think it even needs to be solved. You don't need to pay me to solve this for you because it isn't a big enough problem. Or, in fact, there might already be an existing off-the-shelf solution for your problem. And I don't need to build anything custom for that. Now we can walk through why that might be. Like, let's go through the dream. What are the requirements of the dream? What are you looking for? And if all of the requirements are met by this off-the-shelf software, I don't need to build anything for you, and you can save yourself $50,000. That's awesome, right? That's great. That's a very value-based conversation. I had one of those earlier this week on Monday. And people love you when you have those kinds of conversations. They love you when you have those kinds of conversations. The end of that conversation was, well, thanks, Sterling. Now we know we don't need to build anything custom. Thanks for helping us find this perfect solution to our problem. But now we want to figure out a way to actually work with you. Because now they trust me. They trust me to be honest. They trust me to look for the problem, identify what the problem actually is, and then find the best solution for their problem that will achieve the dream decrease the time it takes to get there, ensure that there's very minimal effort and sacrifice necessary to achieve it, right? So this is my favorite place to be. And in the next video, I would like to show you how to get there. How to get to the point where you're talking about value directly instead of it's just this abstract concept. So let's fetch and do it.